Whew. Can't lie, when Barney came United, I felt so much tension. Like, who is this panic by summer signing, 34-year-old and a pension? But then he got his first goal tucked in an air post, so splendor. Had me on the couch celebrating, singing our age ain't nothing but a number. Can't lie, when Barney came United, I felt so much tension. Like, who is this panic by summer signing, 34-year-old and a pension? But then he got his first goal tucked in an air post, so splendor. Had me on the couch celebrating, singing our age ain't nothing but a number. Woo!
Yo, you're tuned in to the OT99 Banter Room, where opinions are shared and smoke gets served. Look, today we are joined by a special guest. My man Crep has touched the building to give his thoughts and opinions on the matter at hand, which is Manchester United versus Villa. Look, today was a mazza, guys. I don't even know what you thought, but this was deja vu all over again. It felt like, they're calling us the comeback kings. Like, I don't know what you lot think of that title, but look, it's giving me too much anxiety, bruv. So look, Crep, let me leave the floor with you, boy. What was your thoughts on today's performances, man?
The performance as a whole, I think it was a pretty standard performance. We got the job done. Obviously, we needed the 3 points, considering the amount of games obviously we've got coming up this week. Got a lot of games. So it was important to get this 3 points, particularly, I think. In terms of the performance, we started off well in the first in both halves.
Yeah. And
then we kind of just drifted off. I think the game changed once Cavani came on. It gave us a little bit more something to aim for up top. But then other than that, I think it was pretty standard. I don't think, we got the job done. I think that was the most important thing, personally.
NK, give me your thoughts and opinions, bro.
Yeah, and as Crep say, we just got the job done, Like today, the team news was very key for me to kind of look at too. And also, I got to give credit to Oli because I saw, like, when we went 1 down, one of the stats was that we have come back from behind 9 times this season and also have scored more goals in the second half than any team in the Premiership. So that because one thing about Oli, I always talk about like his in-game tactics. So to be able to do that, that means that he kind of like see what kind of like goes wrong or in the changing room. He make good use of the changing room too. But it just classic Man United. We just never dominate the game from like start to finish. We always have just that kind of like good like 10, 15 minutes. And then we go on to like win the game from there. And that's kind of been our season, to be honest.
It's interesting that you said that Oli looks at the sort of the way the game's going and makes those changes to fix it, because I've never heard anyone talk about it like that. I've always heard people look at it like, Oli don't know what he's doing, like he ain't got no tactics and this and that.
I thought the same thing too, but when you see a team being able to come back, today is the 10th time that we've been able to come back from behind to win the game. So it means that, because that's how managers are being paid for. If you set your team and they go and win, then everybody can do that. But when it goes wrong, what do you do in order to kind of like change it? Whether he stick with it or changes it, like I think against like Roma or so, he stick with it at halftime and that pays off too. Sometimes you have to stick with it, sometimes you have to change it. And that's what managers call it. And I feel like he's been doing well so far, kind of like getting it right. He just needs to start doing it from the beginning. That's what it is.
I have a feeling that Crep don't agree with that.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I disagree with that, man. I think Oli, too many times, he takes way too long to make the substitutions. I think ultimately the team's quality just shines through. I don't think it's really down to Oli when we make these comebacks, because we make these comebacks against the weaker teams. So obviously the quality in the side generally it just it pulls through and generally saves Oli. I don't think he's really done anything in terms of any tactical masterclasses to turn these results around. And to be fair, we shouldn't even be in this position. So we need to be looking at that tactics anyway to find out why we keep having to come back. I don't think it's if we want a challenge, I don't think that's a good position to be in, personally.
It's not sustainable. I don't think it is as well. And I feel like we've been doing really well, but obviously you've seen it against the big teams as well. We've got a lot of draws, like where we need to bring on the extra quality, and you're up against serious opposition. If they're punishing you and you're floundering in the first half, to bring back the game and go on to win it takes a lot. And I feel like we need to get that first half on lock, boy, because it's not a good look. But you know what? What I did notice about the start of the game, I think Crep touched on it. The first half, in the first maybe like 5-10 minutes, we look kind of sharp. Then everything like faded, and in the second half, obviously we do what we've done. But in the first half, I noticed some good interlinking play between Luke Shaw and flipping Pogba, man. And I know everyone's been talking about, you know, where do we use Pogba? Where's his best position? Are you thinking that like Pogba's now found his position? Do you think this is it? And you think Oli like is going to continue to use him out wide on the left? Or do you think that's the strongest position?
Me personally, you know, he's done well on that left hand side. I've got to be honest. He's been effective, and I think that's mainly down to Luke Shaw. To be fair, I think Luke Shaw has been probably the most consistent player in the team this season. You know, obviously Bruno Fernandes, Cavani's getting the headlines for scoring the goals, assists. But what Luke Shaw does, I think it goes unnoticed at times. He's been fantastic. The way he stretches the back line as well. Yeah. So he stretches the back line to allow Pogba space in the middle. And he's good. He's got delivery. You know, he can put a ball into the box. He can drive into the box. So it gives Pogba space because he pulls the fullback in to wider into the touchline. So
100.
That's my view.
No, I agree. I feel like that relationship that Luke Shaw and Pogba is building, is something that I don't want to be tampered with. I don't want it to be touched, and I don't know what's going to happen in the summer or what players we bring in and how it affects, that relationship. But I feel like I don't want that to be touched because they're doing a lot, and you're seeing Cavani get so many chances and he's putting it away. And I think partly because of the interlinking, you've finally got someone like Pogba higher up the pitch that is able to interlink with guys like your Brunos or your Luke Shaws or your Rashfords or your Cavani's, and you've genuinely got someone up there that's trying to create for someone else. His main purpose is to create rather than having a Rashford there. He's trying to take on the world, then lose the ball. Or you have Greenwood at times who's coming to, and I'm going to get onto Greenwood. He looked really good today. But again, he's someone that will do a couple of step overs, try and cut in and shoot rather than looking for the more time anyway, rather than looking for the opposition. So I can see the difference with Pogba, and I feel like we've got a few little bits that we need to sort out. And once we've got that sorted, I think United could be doing a little title challenge. I don't know. I think so. But do you know what? Another thing I realized about, obviously our midfield's flat. Like we've got Fred and Scott McTominay, creativity-wise, it's lacking. Defensive ability, I would say, with both of them is okay. Today it wasn't so great. I felt like they slacked a bit. I don't know. Do you remember that pass that Fred gave to Scott McTominay? Then Scott McTominay got robbed, and then they went to score that goal. I think Lindelof now tried to challenge for the ball. I don't know if he was on. Who's he taking on again? Was it?
Yeah, it was. Owen Watkins or something like that.
It was a weak-ass challenge, and then he lost the ball, and then it led to the goal. For me, what's your thoughts on Fred and Scott McTominay? Because obviously that's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's goal too. But what's your views on it? Because we've got some consistency out of it. We're second, we're undefeated away from home. There's a lot going on. What's your views on this? Because it's split. I'm confused.
Yeah,
do we need to work? My question is,
go on,
do we need to work with them and bring in more creativity on the wings or something like that because it helps with the balance? Or are you saying, get rid of both of them, get rid of one of them? What's your views on them?
My view is this. This Giro cannot take us to any form of title. I'm telling you now. The thing about... I'm going to start with Fred. Fred, right? Fred's decent at breaking up the play. He's energetic. He's tenacious. He can get around the pitch, but his passing ability is poor. It's too poor for this side. We need someone who can win the ball. So what often happens with Fred is he wins the ball back and then he ends up losing it or giving it to the opposition. We need someone who can pass forward and break the lines a little bit better than what Fred can do. And I think with McTominay, he's similar. He's a little bit better in his passing, but all he does is pass sideways. He doesn't really get into great positions. We don't need two of those players in the midfield. I think we need to buy a better defensive midfielder, a more solid defensive midfielder that can actually pass, who has a range of passing that can help the attackers going forward. So I would get rid of one of them in the summer personally. I would probably get rid of Fred, bring in a more a better DM, and then put McTominay on the bench. That's what I'll do.
What's your views on the NK?
Yeah, today, when the lineup came, obviously we got the final coming out. So one of the key areas I wanted to kind of like watch today is Rashford and then the McTominay and Fred, because they have always been kind of like the players that you kind of like look for now. Now the thing about McTominay and Fred is with McTominay, today if I ask you, what did you even see McTominay do? The only bit was that pass that he just missed to just score a goal. Apart from that, he just didn't do nothing at all. With Fred, you can just see him trying to like always like rush into the ball to like break play. And when we get a counter, he's always one of the first people to kind of like start the move. Like he passed quicker. But with McTominay, I don't know. I don't feel like the DM is his natural position to play. He's more, I don't know what he does there. But with those two there, it is a big problem at all. Like, they don't have the composure to be a defensive midfielder, especially with a team that want to play from the back, With Fred, where he get the ball and then they like, when they press him a little bit, he panics. And then he either try to give the ball away or just pass it to a different player. And McTominay too is the same thing too. You need a DM that is composed out, like they kind of like, they take the play. They can either slow the game or make the game go fast. And those two are just not the one going forward.
I actually thought that Fred had a decent game today, to be fair. I felt like he was, broke up play here and there. He was on it. He does what he does, innit? Like certain days it looks better on the day, certain times it doesn't. But I felt like he broke up play. I felt like, he certain passes. I remember them one ball that he sprayed across to, who was it on the right? He sprayed one ball off.
He gave it to, because I think he started one of the goals for. He gave it to Wan-Bissaka.
Wan-Bissaka,
yeah. He gave it to Wan-Bissaka, yeah.
And obviously the game before that as well, he had a decent game. I felt anyway, he got that assist. Like, but at the same time, it's hard. I think both of them, because they're so much on the same. They're different players, obviously, but I feel like they're both, in terms of their level, I feel like they're very similar. It's hard for you to now say you have mixed emotions or mixed opinions if you're saying, who do you want to keep and who do you want to leave? Fred or McTominay? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got one that came through the academy, and obviously there'll be an affiliation to him. And I would say, easily, if it's a decision for the board or Oli or whatever, they're going to say keep Scotty. Plus, he's got about 7 goals or whatever. Fred doesn't quite contribute that much going forward. So it's an easy one. But for me...
But I feel like one of the biggest things to it is coaching. Because when you really watch the games, with McTominay, for example, sometimes he just want to like press high up the pitch, and then when he goes, he leaves Fred exposed by himself. And the thing about Fred too is, Fred doesn't really know how to kind of like mark the space to like kind of like stop the interception. Yeah. He's more want to like press more faster. So if you see him, he just always kind of like running and slipping on the floor, like he's just like everywhere. That's the problem. So I feel like this is where the coaching come in, and he said like, look, I want one of you to sit and one of you to go. You got the same problem too with Pogba too. When anytime he play with anybody on the side, you don't know who is going and who is sitting, and who is even covering, like, what do you call it, their wings, and who is staying in the middle. If you just watch it, it's just so disjointed, like in the middle of the pitch.
Do you know what, right? What was you going to say, Crep? Go through.
No. I mean, I agree with what you're saying about Fred today. I think he had a decent performance. The problem with Fred and McTominay is that 80% of the games we dominate. 80% of the games we dominate. So when we're trying to get a goal, they don't really offer much. They sit too deep. They haven't got the quality in the pass. No one really looks for them. They don't want the ball as well. I think they hide when they're in tight spaces. They only want the ball when they're in, when they got space to, because Fred's first touch is pretty bad. You know what I'm saying? He can't really do the 1-2 touch football. I just think we definitely need better quality in the defensive midfield position. Someone who can pass the ball forward.
And what I see certain times, and I don't know if you lot notice it, it's like Maguire, he tends to drive forward a lot. Lindelof turns to like overlook the midfield and try to get that killer ball himself. Even I've noticed like Lindelof, I think he done it in the first half at some point. He does that. He's got a pass on him, so he'll just overlook if he sees something, he'll do it anyway. But they tend to like drive forward, especially when we're chasing a game and we need something badly. They overlook the midfield. Now imagine if you had someone like Thiago in your middle. you're demanding that ball. You're not going to have your defender saying, you know what, drive up the pitch and then leaving you exposed. They're going to be like, give me the ball, let me do something. Pogba as well, if he's in that middle, they're like, you know, he's taking it, he's demanding it. And Scott McTominay and Fred are not those type of people to command it from your Maguires and command it off your Lindelofs and do the magic. And that's the thing.
Exactly.
The creativity-wise, they offer defensive. Creativity-wise, it's a mess, which is why we need guys like Bruno and Pogba on the pitch at the same time.
So when you're chasing a goal, for example, when you're 1-0 down, you're chasing a goal. You've got two less man. You've got two less man because what are they gonna do?
Facts.
And then friend, my love, like, and it just like you talk about Maguire, for example. Like, I play football, and the thing about football, when you play, I wasn't the best of players too. So sometimes the good players, they just skip you. They don't even give you the ball because they don't know you're not going to do nothing. You know, they will hardly give me the ball because they don't know when Maguire get a ball, he does not want to give it to Fred or McTominay because he knows that they're not going to do nothing with the ball. Let me tell you something. Lindelof has done more long-range passes to find Rashford than Fred or McTominay has done. When was the last time you saw McTominay do even a long ball to try to find the run of like Rashford or thing? They don't do nothing at all. So that's what you're like going for. If our key is to win the Premiership, you need those players to contribute, whether it's attacking or defensively, and that's a big problem. Their passing is shocking.
And the more I deep it, right? So with the squad that we've got, right? I can't lie. I agree with how he sets up right about now. I do feel like outside of Greenwood is obviously quality, right? But Cavani's the guy. In terms of balance, right? I feel like for what our team is now, I feel like he's filled in his strongest team. Obviously, going forward, there could be things that needs to change. But I look at it and like think, I can see why Lindelof is there to help with the creativity from the back. I can see why Maguire also has that sort of drives forward and tries to do that creativity thing. Obviously, they're similar players. Lindelof can do with a bit more upper body strength because I just feel like he gets pulverized a lot of the time. But we need every bit of creativity we can get in this team right about now. If you look at teams like City, they got creativity everywhere. Do you know what I mean? And it works for them. For us,
every player in City is comfortable on the ball. Every City, you can you can pass it to the fullbacks, the defenders. Everyone can pass, play football. Our team's not like that.
100%. And if you look at Liverpool as well, right? Obviously, they're not doing too well now. But you look at guys like Fabinho, passing range, as well as doing a defensive job. Henderson, he's an engine, but he can also pass. He's got more passing range than what we've got. Do you know what I mean? If you look at Naby, all those midfielders, they've all got passing range. And I feel like the difference between our midfield is that our creativity from that middle, that passing range, is not there. We need someone that can also do a bit of grafting, that can also pass. And do you know what I mean? Like Herrera, I think he was a decent, like Herrera in the squad right now. I feel like he would have done a bit like a decent job because he had a bit of both. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like we was depending so much on Pogba and all of this stuff. It was just easy to clamp us. Like imagine not having. You saw when we played against Leeds and Pogba got clamped and man marked out of the game. It was flat. If you got both of them and having Herrera in there, I feel like we'll be fine. But we'll have to wait and see what happens in the summer. But do you know what? Getting onto what I noticed about our attack, because our attacks, it feels like we're firing at will. And you know what? Today, I was looking at this game thinking, we're down 1-0, but I know we're going to come back. And I knew we were going to win. There was no, like, I may say, like, in the moment, I'm like frustrated, right? But I just had a feeling that we're going to come back. And I had a feeling that we were going to go on to win. The reason why is because I knew Cavani was coming off the bench and I knew that he was going to get goals. I just knew it. He is on fire. Now, I was watching our performance, right? And I was thinking, there were so many chances, right, where we could have been up by 2-3 goals easily if our strikers anticipated like the loose ball, anticipated the movement of the, like I saw, for example, Greenwood scuff a shot and it scuffed and it went into Rashford's path. But Rashford, like, obviously, I don't know if he was a bit unlucky there. I wouldn't probably say it was anticipation, but I know there was many times in that game where no one's at the far post, no one's at the near post, and the ball's just bouncing in the box, and no one's there to like tap it in. And this is where I miss guys like Chicharito. We've got Cavani now, but this is where I miss guys that is a fox in a box, guys that are just there. And I feel like our off the ball work rate of guys like Rashford, Martial, in terms of an attacking sense, not like chasing down and all of that half graft. It's just not there, bro. It's not there. And I feel like Greenwood is someone that's got potential where we can coach him, where his off the ball movement needs to be spot on. And I feel like if there's anything that our strikers need to learn before Cavani leaves, is learn his off the ball movement. Learn what he does off the ball. Because 90% of what he does off the ball is what leads to what happens on the ball and what contributes to him being in positions to get the goals. And that's just my viewpoint on it.
Yeah, in the first half, I mean, in the first half, one of the things like look sharp because I mean he is like he has created more chances in the Premier League as a defender than anybody else. They kept on crossing the ball into that 6-yard box like time and time again, and then the goalkeeper was just heavily comfortably like saving it. And I knew everybody was thinking second half Cavani comes there and then it's gonna score. And I was telling you like today I was looking at Rashford because I thought he was gonna play on the right hand side. Because I'm looking at a team that's going to start the Europa League, and I feel like his starting spot is under threat. Because if we go on the right-hand side, he's not really making a big of an influence to when today he was leading the line. The thing about strikers sometimes that they need to realize is that your main thing is to score a goal. Most of these strikers, too, they're just like interested in like kind of like being part of like the build-up play. It's good to do that, but sometimes just leave it for them to do it and then try to like find a run. He hardly done that today, you know. I feel like he was having so much shot from outside the penalty box, you know, when he get the ball, just like shooting. Like that's not gonna do it most of the time, you know. Just like Cavani, like the goal that he scored today, he scored a similar goal against like Roma, where he was on the fullback,
running across,
run across there, and then that was just beautiful. You will never see Rashford do that. Sometimes he does it. And then when he expecting that kind of like long range pass from like either Pogba or Lindelof, but those kind of like runs, he does not do that. And going forward, like even if Cavani stays, I feel like we still need a striker because Martial ain't never gonna do that. Martial will not do those kind of like run in there. And when you get this team that defend deep, you kind of like we lack that kind of like Cavani is not gonna give us 40 games a season next season. He's not gonna do that. So the games that he doesn't play, if you get either Rashford or Martial like leading the line, you're gonna get the same problem that we are getting on first half. It's not every day too that we are gonna be able to come back from behind.
But you know what, right? Same way how we're saying that we need a striker, I can see also Greenwood coming into his own. Like the way I look at it is like this: we've got a transfer budget; it's not bottomless, right? We've managed to sign Cavani. You might have the few that say, you know, I'm upset because he's old and we need a long-term fix. And you'll have a lot of people also saying, you know, I'm happy he's staying, he's quality, that's what we need. What's out there in the market to replace him is probably too much right about now for our transfer kitty. Obviously, if we had the money, Haaland or Harry Kane or whatever it is, but I'm just trying to balance up the reality, right, with, you know, what our purse is looking like. And what it's looking like is I'm hearing rumors of maybe like 100 million. But you know what? I say that, yeah. But then I don't know how the whole protest has affected the Glazers, because you know they came out and wrote a letter and they promised to like invest in the club. They're worried about all of this sponsorship deals being affected because we cancelled the biggest game in the season. That's another thing, because I'm thinking, are the Glazers now, their transfer plans was, you know, A, are they now gone to transfer plan B to keep the fans happy and appease them? And if that's the case, could we see what a Haaland or Kane coming, a Sancho coming, a centre-back coming, do a Chelsea? What do you think? You think it's going to change anything? Crep, what do you think?
What, the Glazers? Yeah. I don't trust anything the Glazers say or do, man. Come on, man. Burma, you're being what? I'll be generals by these guys, man. Come on, look at the last how many years, bro. Come on, don't expect anything. Anything's a bonus. But to be fair, I think you're right. I don't think a striker is the priority right now. Obviously, it'll be good to get a Haaland or a Kane type of striker. But I think I think there's other priority areas we need to address. Obviously, if Cavani stays, then there's less of a demand. I think we can use Cavani for another year, let Greenwood develop, and then obviously we've got Martial as a backup striker. To be fair, I've always backed Martial, but this year he's disappointed me, man. Last year he had a fantastic season, and I thought he was going to kick on from there. He's gotten older. And this season, I don't know what's happened. So it just shows that I don't know if we can rely on Martial. I don't know. I would get rid of him, but the question is, who would replace him? That's the question. So, I'm happy.
It's a tough one because do you know what it is? Yeah, like I can't put my finger on it as well. What happened with Martial? I really can't. And then I'm thinking, okay, but would Martial perform better with this Pogba in the squad playing higher up the pitch to provide him more goal? But it's difficult to be able to play Martial, Cavani, Rashford, Greenwood. So I don't know how that's even gonna look.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, like, look at Chelsea. Chelsea top goal scorer this season is 6 goals. 6 goals, their top goal scorer is, and they are in the Champions League final, and then they're in the FA Cup final too. So our team, we rely on individuals. That's what we rely on because we are not coached properly to kind of like get the best out of the players. So it's more about how the players naturally play. Bruno Fernandes got 27 goals this season because we rely on him a lot. Cavani too with his movement. That's something that Martial is. Yeah, that's something that Martial is not gonna do, or Rashford is not gonna do. Greenwood is coming. Greenwood, I feel like he still got a bit to kind of like learn today. That the goal that he took was just a classic kind of like center forward kind of like goal, you know. He just kind of like went there, done his body shape, and then shooting, and he kind of like winning. But I don't know, with the way our team kind of play, because we play kind of like individually like that, we need like a center forward that's kind of like play to like how Cavani kind of like play, because I feel like the way he plays suits our midfielders. You know, it suits Bruno, because Bruno is one player that is always playing those kind of like forward passes. Pogba too is a bit like that, and when you play those passes, you want someone to be at the end of it. Martial is good, but he's more kind of like, he want to kind of like get the ball, give it to me, and then let me run to the space. Sometimes that's good, but most of the time too, it is not good. And I talk about that sometimes you don't need to be part of the build-up play. Rashford like to be part of the build-up play. Martial like to be part of the build-up play. And I don't know. Something need to change over there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're right. And I thought United's had a lot of strikers, but I feel like the strikers that has done well at United probably hasn't been the fastest of strikers. Do you know what I mean? They haven't been speedsters. If you look at your Van Nistelrooys, if you look at your Ole Gunnar Solskjaers, Teddy Sheringham's, don't get me wrong, Dwight York and Andy Cole, they had speed on them, but they weren't.
So did Solskjaer. So young Solskjaer had speed as well.
So young Solskjaer did have speed, but I mean, they weren't. They were like strikers. They weren't like inverted type strikers that were trying to do this sort of inverted winger striker thing, and they had a lot more technical ability. And when I'm thinking about Greenwood, he's that type of guy. He's got a lot of technical ability, and I do feel like he's someone that can fit the mold of Manchester United centre forward. And what I'm really liking about Greenwood, even though he hasn't got that many goals, I said it before in one of my other vids, that I still think that he's improving so much. What he's doing off the ball, his work rate is increasing, his link-up play is improving. How he's using his body, like if you saw that goal that he scored today, how he rolled the defender, this guy's using his body. Greenwood's not the strongest of guys or the biggest of guys, but there's a certain way how you use your body which give you an extra bit of leverage, like Pogba does. You know what I mean? Pogba's big anyway, but you see how he protects the ball.
No, it's instinct. It's instinct. But you was talking about technical ability, right? I actually think Rashford and Martial probably had better technical ability than the previous strikers you just mentioned. To be honest, I think technically they're better. I think what you hit the nail on the head when you said what you said earlier was that they don't know how to anticipate. When in the 6-yard box, they're not hungry enough, they're not aggressive enough, and they don't attack the space. That's the problem. They always want the ball to the feet. They never run into the box. They never drive into the box. If you look at the top strikers, like for example Suarez and Aguero, them sort of players are hungry. They're aggressive in the box, and Greenwood in that sort of similar mold. He wants the ball. He attacks the space. But I just feel that at this point, you're not really going to coach that into Martial and Rashford at this point. I think they're quite similar players, and they're not even if you remember, if you think back to when they were younger, they were a lot more explosive. They used to attack fullbacks, attack the defenders, run at them with the ball a lot more. I don't really see that. with them like as much in the last few seasons, to be honest.
Yeah. It's a shame. I mean, I would hope that we have got, because when I look at our managers that we've had over the course of since Fergie left, we've had David Moyes. Obviously, he's been a manager that's been decent. He's had a good run, 9-10 years at Everton, but he's never really been that type of level where you look at him and think, wow, like he's an attacking manager. He's like world class. And then you look at LVG, he's got a lot of experience and it led to a trophy. And then you've got Mourinho's got a lot of experience. It led to a trophy, but it came with its drama. But then Ole's now the first manager that's coming that seems to be attacking, but still don't have all of the necessarily have all the complete skill set, you would say, for even like a deep, like you would say a quality manager, like an Allegri or what you see Tuchel, all of these ones. So I'm still on the fence in terms of what we can get out of our current proper players. I still don't know if we had like a good quality manager. You know, people may disagree about managers. I think Brendan Rodgers can come in and do a job. I can think maybe Nagelsmann is attacking, he can come in and do a job that have a bit more, is more complete as a manager. Do you know what I mean? Knows when to do subs, knows how to get the best out of Donny van de Beek. So, you know, your formations, rotate your squad, you know, tactically just set, sound. I don't think that we've had one yet. And for me to even make a decision, which is why I feel like when, you know, we see Martial could potentially leave, because I'm thinking if he moves on now, is someone just gonna, you know, get so much out of him that we just, or Pochettino, like if he was at Man United, could we have got something out of these players that we're craving for? Because our team's solid. You look at what Brendan's doing in Leicester and you're thinking Leicester's no right to be there. No offense to Leicester.
The thing with Rashford and even Martial is they are naturally not a centre forward. They both kind of like, I feel like when they were young, they kind of like play as a centre forward because they can use their pace to kind of like do the running and score most of the goals. Yeah. But if you look at them, like none of them are good headers of the ball. They just never ever, Rashford never jumps for the ball when the ball is in the air. He just literally like stand there. Same thing with Martial too, you know. And then it's like, okay, they don't have that kind of like physical presence to kind of like be a Premiership striker. So they kind of like shape them to the wings too, to see what you can get out of the wings too. One thing about winger too is you have to be able to score and at the same time to assist, which is what with the assist bit they don't really kind of like do. Rashford, I think his goals has kind of like improved. Like I think the season before Bruno came, he was taking the penalties too. So his goal ratios was kind of like going a bit up. Bruno came, took the penalties off him, and it kind of like dried up to a little bit too. So I don't know. Going forward, I would just let Martial and Rashford fight for it on the left-hand side. But now Pogba seems to be doing much better job on the left-hand side too. So I don't know. Only got a big problem on his hands. We are just fast. We're just gonna keep talking, but it's up to him to find the best team to keep us winning.
The fact that I think the solution in terms of up top is right in front of our eyes. Obviously, we got Cavani, but for me, when we got Falcao, besides Falcao, I don't know what happened with Falcao. Seriously, I thought he was going to come and do bits at United. But you see Ibrahimovic, right? It's not a surprise that guy, he's a quality guy. Do you know what I mean? He's a guy that is a striker. Cavani's coming doing the same thing. These guys are proper number 9s. And United can't be looking at these random guys that's upcoming that I feel like are even speedsters. I don't even think we need a speedster. You can see it today that we've got enough speed. We need someone that just knows how to put the ball in the net. You know what I mean? Put the ball in the net. Forget about, you know, this counter-attacking super speed, how he wants everyone up there. Sancho, Greenwood, and what's his name? Rashford. It ain't gonna work. I mean, luckily we've got guys chipping in here and there that helps, but in terms of having a reliable centre forward, fam, you've seen it with Ibrahimovic, now you're seeing it with Cavani. That has been lacking. You know what I mean? You've seen it with Martial come and go. You've seen it with Rashford come and go. Like Rashford's still doing all right, to be fair. I'm being a bit harsh, but like his output, but you know what I mean? The eye test, man. The eye test shows you on the pitch.
Yeah, right. Rashford's doing all right in terms of statistics, stats, but he can be doing a lot better. I'm going to be honest. There's something about 100%. Rashford. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. His body language looks off. He doesn't really look interested. You know what people used to say about Martial? I'm getting that feeling with Rashford at the moment. He's not
head down.
He doesn't.
Back.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, exactly. He doesn't look. He's not vocal. He doesn't look hungry enough. He doesn't look like he's bothered. I don't know what's wrong with him, to be honest. I don't know. Maybe it's injuries, but.
It's frustrating my team. You know what's another thing about our attack as well? when we get up to the opposition byline, the box, right, and we're whipping in crosses, a lot of the time
there's no one there.
There's no one there. It's probably one
There's
against
no
like four defenders, and two, they don't even look up to see properly, like pick out a man. Like seriously, like I look at the oppositions that are really good at this thing when it comes to attacking. They're looking up. They're picking out their man. Our guys are getting to the byline and just whipping it in and hoping.
They just
Pogba dragged it back. He didn't even look up to know whoever was there. And then you got another one drilling it like, straight across the box. It's just not enough. It's not enough.
Yeah, but then you say that too. Look at the goal Cavani scored. The thing about playing is you put it in a space that's dangerous and then you hope your center forward is there. That ball Cavani, that cross that Rashford did, he put it in the most dangerous position. Cavani wasn't there where he put the ball there, but he knew that he can make it. Most of the balls that we were doing, we were putting in the dangerous position there too. And that's what you do. So naturally, if you got a team that with a player with a good striker in there too, you know that if I put it in there, they're going to be in there to do the tapping or anything like that. Yeah. Yes, like today, some of the crosses were very good crosses. Look, short crosses that he was doing were good crosses that was getting the box too. Aaron Bissaka too was doing a few good crosses too in the box too. There just wasn't no one there. Cavani cross, I said that Cavani goal. If it wasn't Cavani, the goalkeeper would have come in and catch the ball and then no one would have been there. But because he's so good, he made that run and he was there at the right time to score that goal. So I don't think it's about the people that are there to just score the goals. It's not even about, because the crosses are being delivered into the right places. Just someone there to just score the goals too.
Yeah. I think Wan-Bissaka was guilty of what you're saying. He used to get to the byline and just drill it, hit and hope. Yeah, I don't know what he was aiming for.
Valencia.
To be fair, he's improved. Yeah, exactly, Valencia. But he's improved a little bit. Today he improved just picking up passes or passing it to Rashford and whatnot, Pogba. But in terms of Rashford's goal, he knew where he was putting the ball. He knew that Cavani was going to attack that space. So I don't think that was a random drill and was hit and hope. He put in there with the thought that Cavani is going to attack that space and win that ball and score that goal. So, fair play to him for that.
But I do notice a lot of the times that we do get there. Like I said, I watch a City and them man are more creative. Like I said, them man are more like, you got like your Pogbas on the wings. Like they got more Pogbas on the wings than Bernardo Silva's, you know what I mean? The Brennans, but they literally pick out someone. And I think that's just how Pep coaches anyway. But of us, sometimes I just feel like we waste the ball when we can do so much more of it. But last point before we wrap up, Maguire's injured, man. Maguire looks like he's injured. I don't know if he's going to be... obviously he's Ollie's go-to. And he hobbled off. I don't think he's obviously going to play with the Liverpool game. But do you want to see him starting in the final against Villarreal? Maguire?
Oh, absolutely. Well, definitely.
Yeah?
Definitely. Yeah, 100%. I mean, do we know the extent of his injury? Do we know? You said
they said he left for like a kind of like a cast boot there, but I don't know. All he said is going to be a week. It's going to be days. I think he's going to be back away in one of the Premiership games. It's Maguire, man. He plays for anything. He's one of the players that is very underrated. Everybody talk about, he's not good enough. I don't even know if he's good enough or not. But one thing I know is he's always available, like him and Bruno. And sometimes that's what you need from your players. Always available, to be honest. But I think he's going to be okay. I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. Look, Manchester United, we've closed the gap just a little bit to make it look a little bit more respectable against City. Look,
we're going to win it, mate.
You know what I mean? Hopefully they drop more points in it and we keep the dream alive. But you know what, guys? Thanks for joining, man. This is the OT99 Banter Room where opinions are shared and smoke gets served. Like, comment, subscribe, and support the